I am running to represent the working families of Senate District 38 in the Louisiana legislature. I'm not running on a partisan platform. I'm not running on a political platform. I'm not running on a party platform. I'm running on Bible values, Bible principles, the United States Constitution. I will fight for the faith, freedom, and economic future of the working families of Senate District 38. Thank you. It is now more important than ever that we defend time-honored principles. Marriage is a commitment between one man and one woman. God values human life, so should we. I'm against abortion. I support the right of law-abiding citizens to own firearms and protect their families. I am pro-traditional marriage, pro-life. I am pro-Second Amendment. I understand that strong families make a strong state. Some have tried to turn the First Amendment upside down. The First Amendment does not authorize the government to control and prohibit the expression of faith. The First Amendment forbids the government from controlling or prohibiting the expression of our faith. Albert Hardison is the principal of Walnut Hill, a school which my daughter attended for several years in grade school. He mentioned God's name on a website. He was immediately targeted for attacks from out of state. When a first-rank Louisiana educator like Albert Hardison takes flack because he mentions God's name from someone who's never attended Walnut Hill, has no family at Walnut Hill, and does not live in our state, we understand that Louisiana values are under attack. I believe that everyone in this room understands that we need to communicate to the next generation, our children, the honor of working hard, the discipline, and the knowledge that work builds self-esteem, character, and discipline. Under our American free enterprise system, it's our responsibility to teach the next generation the value of hard work. Let's make our schools safe. Let's save our community schools. Let's stand up for common sense and our common values and pull the plug on Common Core. School safety can be responsibly addressed. I believe it's time to support the principals and teachers on the front lines. Over the years, over the last 25 years, I've heard reports firsthand. These aren't the things that I read about or that third-hand hearsay. I've been directly told of educators being suspended because they intervened to break up a fight. I have been told that teachers and principals are disciplined when student infractions reach a certain quota. Teachers and principals are told, once there's been this many reports of bad conduct, stop disciplining the students. It's making our school look bad. Some of the system would rather protect the school system's image than protect our students. We need to turn that around. As our pastor has said, every student that's pursuing an education deserves a safe environment to attend school. And the dreams of the 97% of the students that want to learn should not be jeopardized to accommodate the 3% that don't. We understand the value of community schools. They are the heart and soul of their communities. When community schools are preserved, it preserves the opportunity for grandparents and parents and families to participate with their children in the journey called education. We know that families strengthen schools, schools strengthen communities. I'm going to stand up for community schools. Instead of busing kids for hours every day to go to school, let students go to school in their own homes, in their own neighborhoods, among their friends and families. With respect to Common Core, historically we know that over 325 years ago, the New England primer taught students the values of patriotism, loyalty, and godliness. Over 300 years later, the educrat establishment is trying to replace patriotism, loyalty, honor with agnosticism, socialism, and evolution as the explanation of human life. We need to get back to our Louisiana values. We do not need the federal government telling us how to educate our kids in Louisiana. The teachers are in the front lines of this battle for the next generation. We need to stop burying teachers with bureaucratic red tape from Baton Rouge and Washington. Let's let teachers do what they're supposed to do, not fill out paperwork, but teach students. We have some economic challenges in our state. Anyone who has observed the proceedings of the Louisiana legislature in 2015 knows that to be true. The reality is that in the last 28 years, while our population has increased 5.5%, our spending has increased 80%. Our spending has now increased from $6.8 billion a year in '86 to over $26 billion in 2014, which, adjusted for inflation, is a growth of 80% in spending, while our population increased a little over 5%. What are the problems? Louisiana taxpayers are paying for the state government to hire 19,000 private consultants as we speak, at a cost to Louisiana taxpayers of hundreds of millions of dollars. The people in this room, you're helping the state government pay hundreds of millions of dollars to private consultants. It's time to get the private consultants out of the pockets of the taxpayers. Between 2005 and 2010, the State Department of Education had almost 5,500 consulting contracts and spent $615 million on consulting contracts, which is why State Treasurer John Kennedy calls Louisiana a consultant's paradise. While we are paying private consultants hundreds of millions of dollars, taxes are skyrocketing, the size of government goes up. As Treasurer Kennedy notes, increased taxes may discourage work, productivity, growth, and our belief in our future. And who's getting the tax breaks? Every year, there's about $7 billion in tax breaks handed out, but who gets them? Recent reports by audits by members of the governor's own cabinet state that out of the 87 largest companies doing business in Louisiana, they have a gross revenue of over $1.6 trillion and net profits of $19.5 billion. About 26% of them paid income taxes. Folks, they're getting a better deal on taxes than the average working family of Northwest Louisiana. They're getting the tax breaks. Not the professionals, not the farmers, not the ranchers, not the seniors, not the veterans, not the working families, but special interests that can hire the consultants to lobby, can hire the lobbyists to create the breaks, they can hire the consultants to find the breaks, they can hire the tax lawyers to navigate the breaks. $7 billion a year. And simply stated, they're playing a poker game with our money. Our pain, their gain, our wages, their winnings. Our hard work, their lottery. What is the solution to our economic problems? It's really not impossible. We do need to decrease spending. We need fewer consultants. We don't need to be paying hundreds of millions of dollars to private consultants. We can reduce taxes. And instead of a tax system, which we have in Louisiana with 462 exemptions, how about a state tax that is lower, flatter, and fairer to encourage the growth of Louisiana-owned businesses and Louisiana's family businesses. The people that have been running the locally owned businesses in Louisiana have been forgotten in Baton Rouge. It's time to remember and recall that Louisiana-owned businesses and Louisiana family-owned businesses are the backbone of our economy. And there is no reason we should not be living in prosperity. Louisiana has a wealth of natural resources. We have the hardest workers in America. We have an intermodal transport system with rivers, river ports, railroads, and an amazing highway system that has been built at the cost of hundreds of millions of dollars. We have great colleges and universities. If we make structural changes in taxes and spending, cut consultants and lower taxes, we can support the missions of Louisiana's colleges and universities. As it is, since over the last 6 years, state support for higher education has dropped over $500 million or over $590 million per year. The concern for our Louisiana colleges and universities is real. We can do something about it with a fair tax system, with cutting spending, with cutting the hundreds of million dollars that we put in the pockets of private consultants. I believe that every citizen has a right to question every candidate about whether they really believe what they say. I believe that the hope of Louisiana and America is the next generation. So I've been privileged over the last 20 years to work in gospel ministry to church kids, to inner city kids, to kids from broken homes, to kids in the jail system. I believe in a fair shake for working families. I've been honored over the last 25 years to fight for working families to get them a fair shake in the courts. I believe it's the responsibility of every citizen to make our community better. So I had the privilege to publicly oppose the building of a landfill dump near Shreveport's water supply. I believe our community's values are worth fighting for. So I have fought, thus far unsuccessfully, to keep a strip club from being built in downtown Shreveport. I oppose unnecessary debt and taxation on the middle class and on working people. So I publicly opposed, through editorials and through public work, to oppose a $108 million tax bond issue that the school board wanted to build unneeded new schools and close valued community schools. I believe that education should be locally controlled and reflect our Christian values. I therefore campaigned against Common Core. I contacted every one of the legislators through emailed editorials, was fortunate to have an editorial published in the Times. I believe that our policy should be to bring our jobs and factories back to Louisiana and America. And I have confronted the Washington, D.C. Scheme to export our economy and the economic future of our children. But I'll say this, working in the church, working in the community does not make me special. It simply means I'm an ordinary citizen. And I'm trying to make our state better like thousands of other citizens that live in Northwest Louisiana. And I applaud you, because what I've done is nothing significant compared to the efforts and sacrifices of the people in this room and the people of Northwest Louisiana. I want to acknowledge my beautiful wife, Carola. I'm so blessed to be married to Carola. We couldn't undertake this challenge without her wisdom support. Thank you, Carola. Thank you, sweetheart. We are proud of our daughter, Sarah, who graduated from college several weeks ago and was educated here in Northwest Louisiana at Walnut Hill and principally at Evangel Christian Academy. I am very honored to have my senior pastor, Pastor Denny Duran, present today. As we all know in this room, and really everyone in the community, is that he has a practice of relentlessly giving himself away to others. Other churches, other ministries, other people, and principally to the other members of his own family. He's a great example to all of us. I am honored as well by my close personal friend, the presence of my close personal friend, Denny Reedy, who has shown all of us that you can take the values and principles of Christian ministry to the marketplace and succeed in the free enterprise system with morals, integrity, and character. And thank you, Denny, for being here. And we are so blessed to have the presence of these outstanding ministers of the gospel here today, and I think we need to give them all a hand. Including my neighbor and good friend, Bishop Fred Caldwell. And all of the pastors, all of you all. I personally thank every one of you for being here, and thank every one of you for the contributions that you all make to make our community better. We would be remiss if we did not acknowledge the tragedy in South Carolina in which Christians were murdered while praying in their church. It's hard to imagine anything good coming out of this, but the truth of it is that it does show us that there is a crisis of values in our country that requires prayer and hard work and sacrifice from all of us to heal our communities and to exemplify Christ's love for everyone. It is right that we pray for the families devastated by this tragedy. It's right to pray for Charleston, and it's right that we pray for our nation. We expect to win this race. The heart of our campaign are ordinary church folks and working people. Y'all are hardworking people. You're loyal. You're committed to our state and our nation. We're going to do fine in this campaign. I have every confidence in you. Because after all, this isn't about me. This is about us, Trina. This is about all of us. Let's win this election so we can do the right thing for everyone. God bless you, and thank you for being here today. Thank you, Pastor Denny. And perhaps our senior pastor could close the meeting with a prayer. Would you mind, Pastor Denny?
Praise God. Let us pray. Father, thank you for John Milkovich. Yes. Thank you that we all know him and we know his history. Thank you that we are absolutely convinced that when he is elected, he will without a doubt be the most selfless man in Baton Rouge. Yes. Thank you, Lord. He has not lived to accumulate wealth or power or influence. He has lived for others. And now I pray that you will put him in a position of influence so he can continue to serve, empowered by the Constitution of the United States. We give you the glory for those that are in this room, and the power, Lord, of accumulated vision and hearts and hands. Allow us, oh God, to still believe with all of our hearts that together we can make a difference. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor Denny. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all for coming. Appreciate you so much. It's good to see you, buddy. God bless you.
I like your theme song. It's just playing when Jenny says,
Come on. That was it. Hey, Brenda. Thank you so much.
Great.
Thank you, dear. Thanks. Hey, Kathleen.
Hi.
How are you?
He said he was sorry.
Thank you for coming. Hey, Dorothy.
I know that you're going to do well.
Come on.
I'm excited about it.
Oh, we're going to do this together.
God bless you.
Thank you, buddy.
God help you.
Love you,
Okay.
buddy. You're awesome.
I don't need to bring McCall man's feet.
Come on.
You know it?
No. If he's your buddy, let's go.
He's just had a election.
Pastor Steve.
Come on, buddy.
Come on. This is it.
Let's go do this thing.
Come on. Thank you, buddy. Thank you. This is Mrs. Charles, isn't it? Hi, Mrs. Camp. So good to see you. Awesome. And Bishop Caldwell, this is Charles Camp and his lovely wife, Mrs. Camp, from Minden. This is Bishop, yes, absolutely.
We're on Castle Radio down there. Really? Yes.
Yes, sir. David Hood.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for the
you so
invite,
much.
brother.
Thank you so
I'm
much.
with you.
Thank you. Thank you. Pastor, thank you.
All right, man, I'm next door, so you don't
Thank
forget
you.
me. All right, bless you.
We love Blocker. Love Blocker.
You made all the difference being here.
buddy.
All the
Brother,
difference.
let's win.
Come
In
on,
Jesus'
let's
name.
go. Let's get it.
Let's do it.